Hello Leo, we're going to be doing your May 2020 Practically Soulful video. Now this reading, the intention with Practically Soulful is to ground down the higher wisdom, higher consciousness if you like, to bridge mainstream and soul, to bridge 5D with 3D. The very idea of that is essentially about connecting into your higher self, okay, the wisdom of soul that we all have, and being able to ground that down into the everyday realities that we all find ourselves in. So if there is perhaps a goal to ascension, maybe it is just a simple one, you know, it's about embodying that so that we are enhancing our very human, practical lives with a little bit more magic, a lot more depth, and a higher view of it all, yeah? Okay, this month we have 4 planets in retrograde. That's Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. Quite simply speaking, we're going to be taken to the depths. We're going to be taken back through the timeline about the wisdom and lessons we have learned in the realms of our boundaries, rules, structures, order, that of society, that of family, that of religion, ours, the very structures in which we're all grown in. We're going to be taken deep into the subconscious and subconscious patterning thanks to Pluto, to the depths of our darkness, if you like, our shadow elements, and the very challenging human facets that are integral to integrate when it comes to ascension, when it comes to soul path work, when it comes to embodying our higher knowing, yeah, integrating that darkness and the light. With Venus in retrograde, it's, you know, it's influencing romance, love, our love language, what we've learned about intimacy, connection, trust, joy, and Jupiter. You know, Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It's how we work with the energy of growth, change, manifestation, abundance. So, you know, how are we expanding or giving ourselves permission to expand, and how are we limiting ourselves in many ways, yeah? Retrogrades go deep, okay, and they bring us to our point of authenticity, because when we've got nowhere else to face other than ourselves, other than at our core, on our knees, whatever the case may be, it is from there we rise, forming foundations that are perhaps much stronger than the original ones that we had started to build on. You know, that's, I think, in essence, why many things come crashing down, is because they were not built upon foundations that were strong to begin with. You are the second sign that I've pulled 2 at the top 4 accidentally, but nothing is ever an accident. Everything happens exactly as it should. We're working primarily at the center of your energy for the month of May, okay, is the energy of purpose, Leo. You know, that's very focused on, you know, what your purpose is, and is that changing, shifting and changing because you're going deep with the retrogrades, because you're working with that retrograde energy perhaps, and you're no longer influenced by family values, society, ideals, patterning, conditioning, yeah? Purpose is unique to us all, and knowing what you are here to do, connecting into that, we can make that as complicated or as simple as we like when it comes to our soul path work, our soul journey, you know. Doesn't mean that we have to have a career that is aligned to our purpose. Maybe it is a contribution factor. Yeah, maybe it falls within an industry that aligns to your overall purpose. Am I failing myself if I'm not living every day, you know, with purpose? You know, perhaps we have to give ourselves permission to be human on some days, Leo, and go through those releases, those challenges that test our boundaries so that we can either push out of them or, you know, meet our tenacity, meet our resilience, yeah? Connecting into purpose is unique for us all, and that forms the center of your energy this month. You know, whether you are redefining it, whether you are coming across it, whether you are starting to truly get away and get rid of anything that no longer aligns to that, okay? And that can tie into everything, friendships, connections, how we spend our days, how we look after ourselves, the people we connect into as inspiration, all right? In the past, you're working with the energy of forgiveness. Underneath all of this is the energy of pride above, and now this is where I've accidentally pulled 2 cards, You're working with the energy of change and grief. So I feel like in many ways, Leo, I'm connecting to those of you within the zodiac that are primarily working with this Scorpio energy of death and rebirth. You know, not only are you simultaneously closing massive chapters and doors, but you are also opening new ones too. After the descent comes the ascension. Yeah, descent, ascend. After the fall comes the rise, you know, and that is your goal. And in many ways, I feel like I'm connecting into Leos that are keeping their eye on the prize, and it's that I keep hearing, remember where you have come from. You know, you're very connected into the whys, the details of exactly why you have been through everything you've been through and what those challenges have taught you, what that might have been dark chapters, they might have been grief, it might have been pain, it might have been betrayal. You're very crystal clear about the purpose and the role each of those events, connections, experiences has played in your life, and simultaneously deciding where to from here. It's actually quite a beautiful energy. Like, it is exactly the same orange. Wow. Just as we can passionately love, we can passionately hate, yeah? Just as we can passionately grieve the past, we can also passionately want change. I feel like it's exactly the same orange, guys. And you know the beauty of this, look at this. In the deck, it's pretty much divided 50-50. There's either a circle that encompasses the geometric shapes, or there is a square. And I mentioned this in another reading, I think it might have been Cancers. This is representing the masculine energy, and this is representing the feminine energy. It is so feminine energy, divine feminine energy, when we intuit, when we go in, when we nurture, when we seek the wisdom within. This is that internal energy that we're seeking. We're using divine feminine essence to instigate and intuit change, Leo. You might not have clear directions. You might not even have a clear urge or drive to step forward into something when it comes to change, but you intuitively, inherently know it on deeper levels within. Maybe you're having dreams about future timelines, possibilities in relation to anything. When it comes, I'm feeling connections here a lot because you've got the loneliness card. When it comes to love, family, friendships, career, any friendships, connections, love and career is what's in focus for you, Leo, when it comes to the soul energy work at play. You're intuiting next steps when it comes to change. So open yourself up to receive that divine inspiration, whether that be in the form of dreams, insight, awareness, however you're receiving information. And you are actively choosing to release anything that feels heavy. And now, look, this is not about, okay, Leo, enough's enough when it comes to your grief. You know, anyone that has been through deep grief knows that it is a process that we adapt to and through, not wish to close off. I mean, as much as we wish to close it off, more than anything, we want the past back in many ways, and that's the heaviness of grief, you know. Whether it's because of death, whether it's because of an ending, whether it's because of an extreme change, you know, a complicated grief. Grief comes in many forms, and it fractures every single one of us in its own unique way, Leo. Even in the journey of soul work and ascension, we are grieving our old self, our old lives, the simplicity of the not knowing. There is such simplicity in deciding, I'm just going to get a job, I'm just going to pay the bills, and my major goal is to get a house and a car. For anyone that has been through deep soul work, dark night of the soul, questioning their sense of self, reality, satisfaction, and redefining their definitions of success, yeah? I'm not belittling, can I speak English today? I'm not belittling anyone's goals. But when you are on that search for more depths of self, when you go in, there's always going to be so much more that we seek, yeah? And a very natural part of that dark night of the soul process is this grieving of old self. There are so many challenges that come with the light of awareness. The more we become aware of ourselves, challenges, shadows, dynamics we have allowed, you know. I'm specifically talking about the grief that comes with ascension and descending out of old self into our new self. I could definitely be speaking to Leos who are primarily working with this awakening energy. Exactly like this, there is this fracturing and a breaking away that happens with the ego, with the shadow self, so that we can welcome the embodiment of the light aspects of soul and soul knowing as we integrate it in our lives. Yeah, be interesting to see what tarot cards come up to clarify. But grief offers healing for us all. It offers us the gift of gratitude, a deep reverence for those that we value, times that we value, that have brought us intense happiness and satisfaction. Grief gives us with opportunities to redefine our path moving forward. Yeah, it gives us a reset button. It gives us an opportunity to truly get into touch with the wisdom of the heart and to hear what it has to say. Very often we allow ourselves to live a life based on whatever the mind thinks we should be doing. There is a lot of gifts in grief. There is a humility that it presents, and a humbling, and a sense of authenticity that perhaps cannot be gained in any other moment, through any other emotion. And it is a range of emotions, yeah, I acknowledge that strongly. Okay, so I feel like I'm speaking to Leos that are dealing with this. I keep seeing the pillars, and would I even like to see if the High Priestess shows up. All right, and in the future you've got the loneliness card, Leo. You know, this is about, and I'm strongly picking up on Leos that are going through some form of awakening, a deep reset and change from old self, old life, old relationship. Maybe a connection has ended, maybe a new life is trying to come through, yeah? And you're redefining, you know, don't be mistaken by the word loneliness on the card. You know, this is about choosing soul tribe and knowing that I can feel completely lonely in a house full or a room full of people that just no longer align to me anymore when it comes to my soul purpose, my path, who I am. After a time of deep grief and deeply meeting myself and knowing what must change, what needs to be let go of, suddenly the old falls away. You might be going through that exact same experience in the coming month. I think I need to sneeze. Oh, bless me. And sneezing is an energy clearing. You might be releasing old connections, and that could be anything, family, friends, loved ones, people who no longer align because they no longer resonate to where you're at, Leo. And underneath this is the energy of envy. Now, I feel like that might even be more so directed at you. Maybe you are experiencing some deep change and it's really noticeable. You know, envy is simply, you know, if you think of the work of light and dark, when there is a lot of light and a lot of light coming together, so I'm using this as a metaphor. Think of when a couple comes together that no one wants them to be together. Like Romeo and Juliet. I'm just trying to think of a storyline that makes complete sense to what I'm trying to portray. When too much light comes together, it is blinding and the darkness needs to come in somehow. I'm trying to portray just the way, the energy of envy, yeah? Where we are in 3D, darkness must exist as a polarity, because polarity exists. However, it simply is just seeking to be light, to be removed of the density of its heaviness. So we is drawn to the light, yeah, like a moth to a flame. So we can look at that whole scenario and like, darkness is trying to break up the light or, you know, dispel the light. We can look at envy as energy that tries to bring back down to, you know, it tries to bring light back down to dark. But essentially, all that energy simply wants is to ascend too. It wants to feel light, be light as well. So it is the light's responsibility to transmute the darkness. Because if the darkness knew how to transmute it, it would choose to. It only knows how to vibrate and work at that level. Does that make sense? I had to think of a couple, and maybe I'm thinking of that for a reason. Maybe there's a Leo out there that I'm connecting into that will be sort of experiencing this energy within their connections, because they are aligning to their purpose. They are choosing to close doors on an old life because they know there's a new one just here. You've recently come out of the energy of forgiveness. Maybe there was conflict with close connections and partnerships that were a part of your family, friendship groups, you know, and there's a deep change, a deep grief that's happened, a transformation that's happened within you, Leo, that's seen. I just keep seeing a lot of things falling away, you know. I'm not seeing eye to eye because, you know, you are solitary in many ways, because I feel like you have found something, discovered your purpose, discovered your inner voice, identified a strong boundary line within your, you know, you're aligning with that and those who align with you. And a very big part of that is the conflict that happens in connection. You know, when we, hey, come here, come. Sorry about that. It's the very conflict that happens when we continually have to try and put a boundary line down, to explain ourselves, okay, is what I'm feeling, Leo, in many ways, all right? And underneath this is the energy of pride, all right? I love myself and I see myself in everyone. I might be talking to Leos that are struggling to understand why they are not being supported, why they might be experiencing the energy of envy from others. I feel like I'm connecting to Leos that just want to take this new path moving forward, but it is not supported, okay? Whether it's a connection you're choosing, whether it's a life path, a major decision when it comes to your career, Leo, whether it's someone significant. I'm really curious, actually. Because there was a time here where you were feeling grateful for coming across something new, you know, but then there was like this indecisiveness. Maybe you were influenced by the voices of others, the opinions and fears of others is what I want to say, this envy energy. But what I do want to say, you know, you need to persevere through this, whether it's a new connection, a new opportunity, a new career path, a new choice, because it leads to abundance. And you know what? It is when we have the courage to be who we truly are, Leo, and to take those risks, which completely goes against the grain of what society has taught us to be. You know, society in many ways has told us that we need to be safe, we need to follow the rules, we need to do as we're told, perhaps, and stand, you know, there's safety in numbers, you know, because when you stand alone, you're on your own, and in very many ways we are. This conflict I was picking up before, it's like you keep having to re-explain yourself and who you are and what you stand for and what you want. But I feel like I'm talking to a Leo that doesn't feel like they're being heard by connections that they used to have, is what I want to say, Leo. Connections that used to be important. Let's take a look. All right, just going to do a quick shuffle. That one wants to. The Queen of Pentacles, Leo. Maybe you're connecting with an earth sign. Maybe you're communicating with an earth sign, because the Eight of Wands also wants to jump out as well. Earth sign, Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn. Maybe this is about a career shift. So when the Queen of Pentacles shows up, she's very self-sufficient. She's very, not only is she the mother figure, but she has everything she needs. You know, she wants for nothing. Maybe this is about you stepping out of a career into independent contracting, entrepreneurship, okay? Starting your own business. Let's take a look, my lovely Leos. I do see you're coming out of a time of emotional disappointment and a head-heart decision. The Queen of Pentacles has shown up again, and she graduates into the Empress. Let me just connect in. There's definitely change energy here. You've got the Five of Coins, and you've also got the Five of Cups, which launches your reading. Okay, Leo. I feel very, very strongly that this is a connection that has not been supported by family or friends. And it doesn't have to be anything too dramatic. You know, it might even be a friend that says, oh, you got to be careful about that because they might do this. You know, remember what happened in your last connection? Or I heard that he's used to see that person, or she used to do this. You know, you've got to be I feel like it might even be subtle, Leo. I feel like there's this subtle commuting energy around you that you need to be aware of if you are not already. Because I think even there might have been a conflict in the past that has not yet perhaps, it might have only recently just come to light. Maybe you've had outright disagreements with close family and friends about a new connection in your life. So I feel like there was, okay, so you've got change energy guaranteed with the Five of Pentacles and the Five of Cups, right? 55 is the number of change, any numbers of 5. You've got the Five of Cups and then you've got the Queen of Cups, and that to me talks about not only have you emotionally experienced loss, but you've also experienced emotional mastery, and you are seeing how perhaps a loss was essential in order for you to feel emotionally fulfilled on some level. What I keep hearing is you've lost something, but you've also gained something really big because you decided to take a risk and make a head-heart decision. You've got the Lovers card here. This is why I strongly feel like you're coming together with a strong connection, or you are centered in your, like, I can interpret this two ways, Leo, okay? So I'm going to interpret the relationship side of things first, and then I'm going to interpret the career side of things as well, because I can see a massive chapter ending here and the beginning of a whole new one. It's actually the launch and celebration and start of a new one. If that hasn't happened yet, maybe you've made things official in a connection. Maybe you've made things official in your steps moving forward, all right? You've experienced emotional loss because there was some sort of forgiveness conflict that happened in the past. You know, you're having to forgive yourself for not saying sooner. You're having to forgive others for not seeing or feeling the experience as you do. There was an and maybe you left a connection to only walk into a whole brand new one. There's the other thing I'm feeling here too. The Queen of Cups is emotionally centered and stable, you know, because she's next to these two cards, which, you know, if she was next to another challenging card, I would say that could potentially be some shadow elements, because I'm picking up shadow elements here, but I feel like it's energy that surrounds you, Leo. There was the love, with the card of the Lovers, this is divine love, you know, you are centered in your emotions about who and what feels right for you, and you're making head and heart decisions across the board, whether it's connections, family, friendships, career, purpose. I know what I am here to do. You've got a very strong sense in your emotional body about what needs to go, you know, and you're ready to use both head and heart in making decisions that feel completely aligned to you. The energy of Gemini is significant, okay, when the Lovers card shows up. Maybe you are connecting into a Gemini. Maybe the Gemini season is relevant to you, Leo, okay? So that's the month of June. We are also in Venus retrograde. Venus retrograde will be ruled by Gemini this time around. There's emotional mastery in your journeying back about what you have learnt across your lifetime when it comes to the energy of loss. You know, on its own, this is crying over spilt milk and being deeply emotionally affected by something that no longer is. But this is emotional mastery. The Queen of Cups is the master of her emotions. All right? It is change guaranteed. It's change and grief, exactly like the two cards that crown your reading. Yeah, the two soul cards that crown your reading, Leo. And then you've got the Emperor, the Three of Cups, and the World. Make no mistake, you are celebrating a new beginning of a whole new world where you feel completely in control about who, what, where, when, why, everything about this whole new world. You are the emperor of your kingdom. You are deciding who influences you and your emotions, who is the key, you know, decision maker in your life. And this is all internal, Leo. This also, if you are a woman, this also could be about the most important man in your life and wanting to feel in control. You are wanting to feel in control of your destiny, your path, your purpose moving forward. This process that you are going through of closing doors and opening new ones, you know, you are well and truly in control and feeling empowered doing so. You know, the Emperor is holding not only, he's holding a scepter, but it's a scepter of the whole solar system. With this Aries energy, which is what the Emperor rules, it is ruled by Aries. With this Emperor energy, you truly can be, you can use the energy of the cosmos at your own will. I really want to tell you, Leo, to really tune in to the navigation that is available thanks to the astrology that we have this year. Up until April next year is what I keep hearing as well, obviously with the Emperor card there. You might be connecting into an Aries. There's a coming together and a celebration of those that feel like soul family, a new connection, an engagement, formalizing, celebrating. There's an ending and a beginning simultaneously, and this beginning amplifies and quickens. I do see endings, and this, it's almost like the opening of this new door is the celebration sound of the closing of the old, is what I keep seeing is the minute you get that ring, the minute you have that celebration, the minute you toast that glass of wine, it closes a chapter for you, a massive, it might even be a karmic chapter. Maybe you're leaving a job and you're sitting back on a Friday and you're having that glass of wine, and you know, just with that simple little ceremonial, yeah, because the three of cups, when I say celebrations, it's ceremonial. It's not just formal engagements and family get-togethers and large gatherings, you know. It is ceremonial in self, that you are now feeling more in control of your path moving forward because of walking away, because of becoming emotionally centered and aware of exactly what you want moving forward and who you want in your life so that you can successfully close these chapters. I feel like I'm connecting into Leos that perhaps when you were 21 years old, or a 21-year cycle is relevant, okay? So that brings us back down to 2000. Yeah, 1999. That might be relevant. Patterns, conditioning, following someone else's rules, whether that be family, expectations, or otherwise. And we are now feeling like the Emperor of our kingdom. I'm making decisions that are right for me. You're definitely in assessment mode, but what I do want to say is don't hold back so much that you miss awesome opportunity. You're in graduate. This is ascension. This is growth. Whatever you are leaving, connection, old career, whatever you are these doors are, they are closing, and you are, in doing so, you are launched. You are ascending. You know, this Queen of Pentacles energy that wanted to come out for you before. You know, she wants for nothing. She's a queen in her own right, and she does not expect anyone to do anything for her. She has everything. She's got everything in abundance. She has the provisions she needs. She has, and this is what you're assessing. And I think in many ways you're assessing what is tangible. And you can apply that to finances, yes, because that makes us feel safe. Yeah, it lets us know what our world is going to look like and what needs to be ruled, what needs to have belts tightened and whatnot. But the Queen of Pentacles, she's got provisions plus some. So I want to encourage you not to feel disheartened because this is not yet the 10 of coins, okay? It's the 7 of coins. You have come a long way in your journey. That might be a metaphoric, or it might be something tangible that you can have and hold. Yeah, the wisdoms you have learned and integrated about your journey to date. The Queen of Pentacles graduates into the Empress. Like, this is manifestation energy. You are calling this in. You are calling this in, Leo, and there is no stopping. Like, this emotional mastery I kept picking up on, you are no longer ruled. You know, you've got a beautiful Leo heart, and when Leo is in love, when Leo loves and cherishes another, there is this open-hearted energy that is like the life force of the sun. And when it is betrayed, when it is let down, look, I'm not even picking up any heavy betrayal. Maybe this is stuff that's happened in the past. You know, maybe you were recently surprised about conflict that has arisen in your life because you weren't expecting it. Some of it, we're not expecting this stuff, yeah? This energy is transforming you. At the base of all this, the energy of envy is transforming your base chakra and your solar plexus. So take that however it resonates, however, you know, whatever side of a coin you fall on. There is a massive opportunity in the month of May for you to truly tap into the energy of abundance, Leo, and really draw forth this new beginning. The wheel is turning in your favor. Not only you're engaging this emotional mastery energy that I talked about earlier, thanks to the Queen of Cups, after a time of loss. It's also this, very logical energy where there is no cutting corners with the King of Swords. He is the person you go to for intellectual advice. He's very, very mentally driven. Not in a bad way, because he has mastered it. He has mastered the realm of air. He has mastered his thoughts. There's a masculine drive to your thinking body this month, Leo. There's a masculine energy that's pushing you to create change when it comes to what needs to be let go. This is your masculine energy. You're taking an Aquarian, Libra or Gemini approach. You're taking the thought body approach when it comes to creating change around pushing out of grief. This masculine energy. There's a lot of feminine energy when it comes to how you're dealing with change. And the suggestion is, not only do we intuitively go in to intuit and use feminine energy to nurture, to have, to hold, to know things that don't need to be known based on logic and structure. This is about going in to intuit change and what is needed, what might be next. And the suggestion there is, because these are the feminine energies that are on the table for you, the Queen of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Empress. Be the divine goddess that is emotional, nurturing, intuitive, and she is also very practical. She puts her money where her mouth is. She doesn't just say, she does. This is quite a beautiful combination. Okay. And when it comes to pushing outside of the energy of grief and welcoming in this energy of change, it's about taking with you and knowing that you have something tangible to offer, recognizing the opportunities that are being offered to you, okay? That ultimately create change. I do want to say there's a specific Leo out there that is wondering about the money, that little bit of money you need for that next step, whether it is to secure a rental property, whether it's a deposit on a home, whether it's to see you through a couple of months as you transition out of a full-time job into your own enterprise. I want to say the money is there. All right, and you can find it in another way. I do keep seeing someone sell something to make something. It's not a massive. I just want to keep saying, yeah, the money is there, Leo. All right, this is something tangible. I also want to say, when it comes to this letting go of the old versions of you, old life, old connections, old ways in which you respond, old ways in which envy has infiltrated your life and you have allowed it. Or perhaps this is something that's been experienced by you. This is that closing and opening of doors, Leo. There's something happening here that's fundamentally shifting. That old world no longer exists. And there is a massive invitation here for a whole new one. I do see, I'm talking to Leos that have been through loss and they truly understand what that loss feels like, and they've had to make sacrifices when it comes to walking away. Feeling like an outsider, not feeling supported. You're not a stranger to this energy. This is a whole reset. This is the Fool card. It's the zero energy. It's the zero field, the 0 point field where all things manifest from. The Six of Cups, perhaps children are involved. Maybe this is a past life. Knowing, stirring, contract, past life. Inspiration when it comes to divine knowing and inspiration that sparks the divine fire within you again for this whole brand new chapter. I feel like there's a whole new connection here, Leo, that feels like it's either linked to childhood, has children in it, or feels like a past life, or bears children. It's quite a passionate new connection. For those that are experiencing this ending and beginning when it comes to romantic connections, like I was mentioning earlier. There's the High Priestess card. Remember when I said I wouldn't be surprised if she shows up? You are moving into more peaceful waters, Leo. This is something beautiful. You are getting your emotional fulfillment. Whatever it is that you are closing chapters on, success. The Eight of Cups is in wanting to work on something. You know, we're wanting to invest. We have the skills and ability. You have everything you need to be able to achieve success, whether that is business, entrepreneurship, whether it's in a relationship. You're choosing to commit to something, a new future, okay? You're moving away from heartbreak and a time of being alone. I feel like I'm definitely speaking to Leos that are coming into connection, okay, in many ways. There's wish fulfillment here. There's opening and closing of doors, Leo. You know, a whole new world is trying to open up. The month of May is both a closing and an opening in many ways. And I do want to say June is significant, okay? And so is the next air sign out of June. So that would be Libra season, which is September. June and September are significant months for you in the progress of this story. It's already started though, okay? I hope you got something out of that, Leo. I do see that you are ascending, and you know, after descending, there has been a lot of ascension energy. After closing doors, there is definitely opening of new ones, and it is the right path for you. There is a new connection here, and you are letting go of the old versions of you that are loud in the past, because there's new boundary lines now. This is your story, your path moving forward, and you really aren't influenced by anything else other than this, and this, in beautiful harmony. Okay? I hope you enjoyed it, Leah. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.